For the tail control, I think we're going to use an expression. I think it's just going to be easier. So first, I'm going to need a control that doesn't look like any of the other controls that I've used. You could use a box curve, you could use a 4-arrow. I think I'm going to use a 4-arrow, but again, everyone's taste is different. Don't be afraid to be a little expressive. So I will make that a bit smaller, but I want it pretty big because I want it to be easy to see. And I will freeze transformations so that scale is baked into it. Then I'll nest it inside a group node, and because we're using expressions, the initial placement really isn't going to matter all that much. You know, that is a little big, so let's scale that down just a touch. And I want to keep it somewhere around the tail. Again, you always want your curves to be easy to see and easy for your animators to access. So that looks pretty good. Anytime you are writing an expression or a piece of code, it is vitally important that all of your names be very, very clear. So this 4-arrow curve is going to be named tail underscore CTL. And the group I will name tail group. Tail group. I am going to start my expression with this joint here, and you remember that when I named all of my tail joints, I was very specific with their names. So there was tail begin joint 0, 1, tail joint 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, and tail end joint 6. Tail end joint 6 is irrelevant, it really doesn't control anything, but 1 through 5 do, so those are going to be our big important joints that we care about. The other thing that we remember is, of course, if you select stepping up the hierarchy, when you rotate, you get this lovely curl. So the thing that I want to point out this time is that a rotate Z will give you an up and down rotation. So remember that. Z is up and down. Y is side to side. Those are the two we're going to care most about. Z is up and down, Y is side to side. You might want to write that down somewhere. I know it sounds silly, but it's worth it. Trust me. So I've got this tail begin joint selected. Which one was side to side? Which one was up and down? Z is up and down, so I'm going to start with rotate Z. In the edit menu of the channel box, I can open the expression editor. The expression editor is fun, but very, very awkward, so don't worry if it takes you a while to get the hang of it. First, I'm going to give my expression a name, so we'll call this one tail curl up. And then the next one we'll call tail curl side. As I read down the expression editor, I can see that the object that I have has several children, and I can see a list of the available attributes that I could potentially be writing expressions on. I'm starting with the Z, which is up and down. And if I look down here, I can see that the selected object and attribute is tail begin joint 0, 1 dot rotate Z. So I'm going to take that and copy it and write it down here in the actual expression editor. So what do I want this tail begin joint to do? Well, I want rotate Z to be equal to my tail underscore CTL. You remember how carefully I named that, right? So I want it to be equal to tail control dot translate Y, because Y is up and down. And then I'm going to put in a semicolon to end the line. I'll go ahead and say create, And now the first annoying thing that the expression editor does, in order to test this expression, I need to deselect that joint and select my curve, and that causes the expression editor to say bye-bye. But let's test it out anyway. So if I move my curve up, you can see that the tail is in fact moving up and down. It's just going really slowly. That's fine, that's easy. I can click back into the joint, I can click back into Rotate Z, and that gets me my expression back. So what I want to do is set the rotation equal to the translate, but I want to speed it up a little bit. So let's multiply it by 10. I'm going to click the Edit button here, and now when I click on this curve, you can see that the tail is responding much faster. Depending on your tail and your scene scale, you might have to use numbers other than 10. Totally fine. Do whatever you need to do, play around a little bit, and see what works best for you. When you think you've found a good number, go back into your expression. There's mine. I am going to take this, copy it, and then I'm going to press enter, and I'm just going to change the name of the joint that I'm controlling. So I don't need this begin anymore, but this is going to be joint 2. We'll edit that and test it out. And now the first 2 joints are rotating. Lovely. Let's head back in. So I'm going to take this line here, copy it again. The next joint that I've got is 3. So we'll just swap out that number. Then we'll do 4. And then we will do 5. I will hit the Edit button again, and now when I click on my control curve, look at that! Isn't that beautiful? So much fun. So I'll head back in here one more time. I will click into this Rotate Z. I'm going to copy my entire expression, and then I'm going to head over to Rotate Y because Rotate Y is side to side. So on Rotate Y, I'm just going to swap out all of the Z's in the Rotate Z's for Y's, which is a little harder than it looks because my screen is really tiny. And then over here on the other side, I'm going to swap out Translate Y for Translate X, because Translate X is side to side. Okay, I will name this expression tail curl side, and then I will say create. So now if I take this curve, when I move it side to side, it goes. It's actually opposite to the way that I would like, but again, that's an easy fix. I will select my tail joint, click into that Rotate Y, and I'm just going to put a negative sign in front of the tail control motion. And that should reverse the motion of the tail control, so let's hit the Edit button here. And then we'll try clicking on this curve once again. And now it is just about perfect. So I will just pull up that Rotate Y expression one more time so you can take a look at it. Just remember that I've got a negative sign in there. Okay, expression writing. Isn't that easier than you thought it was going to be? And so much more useful than you thought it was going to be? It's great. If you feel like trying, Rotate Z to translate, Rotate X to translate Z, you'll get a lovely twisting motion. It's really beautiful. I'm not going to do that here because I think you can figure it out on your own. So I am just going to stop here and close my expression editor, and when I get back, I will start the finishing stages of the rig.